What's up, everybody? Paul Hickey here with NoOffseason.com. Welcome to the Sports Card Strategy Show Premium Pod. This is the premium pod that I promised all of you loyal Sports Card Strategy Show audience members on the big show. A couple weeks ago, I went to the Atlanta Culture Collision card show. It was awesome, and I spoke about it on the Sports Card Strategy Show, and I said I would do a premium pod episode on it. So here we are. Everybody, I'm going to talk a little bit in this episode about card show strategies and what my card show strategy was going into the Culture Collision show, as well as how I think I did and how I think I executed that strategy. But I'm also going to talk today about what it's like to be at a card show and how to navigate a card show and how you can have different strategies. But also, today's episode is just for a little extra enjoyment because I think sometimes people just want to know what it's like, what it was like. They weren't able to make it. Traveling is expensive. So when there's card shows in other cities, I think there's a natural curiosity to see what they're like. Culture Collision is one that has had rave reviews from people in the hobby, people that go to different card shows. I've been to the National. I've been to the Nashville card show, which is much smaller, and I've been to Culture Collision now. And so I can say that Culture Collision is definitely bigger than the Nashville card shows that I've attended. Definitely not as big as the National. It falls in between. So hopefully when I show you the B-roll and sort of comment over the B-roll for the Culture Collision show, it gives you an idea of what the show's like. But in hindsight, it was a great show. It had all kinds of sports, and it definitely, like many shows, cards are typically priced a little bit higher than comps. They're typically priced about 10 to 20% above recent comps. So you got to be careful what you're paying, and you should negotiate. And it's always best to make a lap around the show first and understand what's there, and ask questions to the dealers about the cards. Show a little bit of interest, but keep walking. Let them know that they're not the only vendor that you're interested in. You know, you've got a set budget, and you need to walk around and see what's there and then come back. So I literally use those words. I'll say, you know, I'm interested in this card. How much is it? Typically a good vendor will pull it out for you, let you see it. That's very key because you know, I'll talk a little bit more about what my card show strategy was heading into the Culture Collision show. But it's critical to, you know, especially for a raw card, to have the vendor take it out of the case and show it to you. And of course, if you're going through dollar boxes or slab boxes, there's like there's boxes that are sort of mid-range price boxes, like $20 to $50 cards in boxes. Those are super interesting as well. I feel like you can get a lot of really good deals on those. So as you're going through boxes, it's important to take a look at the condition of the cards, because my strategy heading into the Atlanta Culture Collision show was literally to find 4 or more raw cards that I thought would have a chance at Gem Mint 10 from PSA, because I had 16 cards that already at home that I wanted to get graded. And so that's 4 short of the 20 card minimum that you have to get to in order to get the value, the bulk value card pricing, which is $19 a card. So my goal was very simple. It was to find 4 raw cards that I wanted to accompany with my 16 at home for a PSA grading submission at the bulk value grading level of $19 a card. And that put me in good position. Now I ended up getting more than 4 cards. So I think I ended up submitting 33. So I got like 17 cards. And I think I didn't decide to grade all of, some of the cards I got at Culture Collision were already graded. And I ended up finding more cards at home. So I don't think I got literally 17 cards that I added to that submission at Culture Collision, but I definitely went in with the budget. Now my budget for this show was $1,000. I ended up going over budget. I ended up spending $1,500 at the show, mainly because I found a Kyle Manzardo card that is was recommended to me by Lefty McKee. I'm gonna show it to you here in a second. I got this Kyle Manzardo card right here. This one right here. This was $550. I was not expecting to get that. So that's what took me over my budget. This Tyrese Maxey on the left is a rookie ticket auto that's already a Gem Mint 10. That was $500, and I thought that was a great deal. So that's why I went over budget, but I got other raw cards that I wanted to submit to PSA. And Anthony Edwards, Prism Auto was one of them. I'm going to show you some more cards here, obviously, from the show. But Anthony Edwards, Raw Prism Auto was one. This is a bunch of Shohei Otanis. I didn't buy any of these, but you can see you get all kinds of stuff at these card shows. And, you know, Shohei autos, rare Shohei stuff, Beckett, pristine 10 black label Shohei, pop 2, you know, these kinds of things that are super, super interesting. But anyway, my strategy was to get these 4 or more cards. And I feel like I did a pretty good job executing my strategy. And I think it's important to have a strategy. So as I walked around the show, I mean, yours is going to be different than mine, but as I walked around Culture Collision, that's what I was looking for. So I walked around first, talked to a bunch of the vendors. Then I went back and started making offers, and I got some stuff out of dollar boxes and things like that. But because things are typically priced 10 to 20% over comps, I think it's important to negotiate and try to get some bulk deals. So I'm gonna give you some B-roll now for those of you that are listening on Apple and Spotify on the premium pod. I'm gonna narrate over the B-roll so you can see. Now I'm kind of reminding myself of things that happened at the show. So bear with me as I may stumble over some words here in this recap. But the first thing I want to show you is this is the Maxey on the left. This is me holding the Maxey after the transaction. But this Drew Jones auto I thought was interesting, and I took a picture of it because this was in a showcase, one of the first showcases, and it's a Drew Jones USA Stars and Stripes 18 and under national team out of 399 sticker auto, and it's a SGC 1010. So I didn't buy this card, but I thought it was interesting because this is the kind of stuff you'll find at card shows, and you won't necessarily find it online. And I like that because Drew Jones is a guy that doesn't have, as of this recording, he doesn't have a Bowman Chrome first card or a Bowman Chrome first auto yet. He was not included in Bowman draft. So he should be the major chase for the upcoming 2023 Bowman set. And we don't know that for sure yet, but look out for Drew Jones. And, you know, be careful of buying these XRCs. We would consider this like an XRC, which is sort of like a pre-rookie auto. A pre-rookie card with an auto on it. It's a great card. It's probably actually pretty well priced at $150, to be honest, because I think Drew Jones is going to generate a lot of hype and he's going to be very good. Now, his first Bowman Chrome autos are going to be the biggest chases. So you can see it's kind of nestled in between a Jordan Walker that's a Bowman's best, priced at $600, and a Gem Mint 10 from SGC. Atomic Refractor out of 25. So that's a big card. A lot of people like Jordan Walker, but it's not a Bowman. I'd rather spend $600 on a Jordan Walker Bowman Chrome first auto. That's gonna be the one that really takes off. But anyway, we'll get into some of the B-roll here. And for those of you listening, I apologize. I'll do my best to kind of narrate over this. But here's just kind of the beginning when you walk into the show. It's a very, very large room. There's actually, you'll probably see this in some other videos, but there's actually basketball courts in the back where they had a 3-on-3 tournament. So right off the bat, I'm getting hit with Anthony Edwards Contenders rookie ticket autos. Boom, listed for 3K in a PSA 10 and a 1.2K in a SGC 1010. I think that's 1.2K and not 12K. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. So I like me some Anthony Edwards there for sure. So got that in my B-roll. Here's again, just kind of like trying to give you guys an idea of the size of the show from a table standpoint, kind of like a mini national. I mean, the national, like, there's nothing really like it, but this, out of all the shows that I'm familiar with, I would say this probably comes the closest, at least that I've ever been to. So, for those of you listening, I'm showing a lot of different kinds of cards within a showcase, and the thing about going from vendor to vendor is like in each case, you'll see uh, a bunch of cards that you're interested in, and then a bunch of cards that you have zero interest in. So it can be very overwhelming if you're not familiar with going to card shows. Um, to not waste time with cards that you're not interested in. Like if you don't know the player, just move on. Um, unless you're there to browse. Now this is a display case that I really liked. It had a design flaw where the cards would fall out of it, so they needed rubber bands to hold the cards in. But you can see the strategy behind this vendor is they had collected a bunch of Jalen Hurts, big Jalen Hurts cards. So right here you can see like a ton of different Jalen Hurts autos, rookie autos, from Obsidian to Select, Relic patch autos to Contenders. So I really, really liked what they did there, and they were trying to offload a lot of Jalen Hurts cards during the NFL playoffs, which is a smart selling strategy. Here's a booth that had a lot of wax, a lot of good wax. I actually picked up a box of NBA Hoops 2022-23 a hobby box for $115. I made some plays there, kind of piecing together the auto and some other pulls from the hobby box. I didn't get anything really big. Now there were a lot of this is actually a showcase that I filmed that has a lot of Georgia related players in it, from Desmond Ritter to different Georgia Bulldogs and SEC cards, Leaf autos. You've got a ton of different like famous Georgia Bulldogs in this case, and you guys probably heard me make a comment on the Sports Card Strategy show about just being careful of buying cards from the hometown city that you're in at the card show, because the prices are going to be a little bit inflated. Nice cards, nevertheless. Culture Collision's also a show that is supposed to be known for marrying together culture and cards, and so you've had like booths, a few booths, not as many as I thought I would see, but you had a few booths with like custom shoes. There were like soaps and different like arts and crafts and stuff mixed in with the cards, which felt a little bit weird. I wasn't like a huge fan of that, but it wasn't horrible. I was obviously there for the cards, but it was just interesting that you had things like these shoes, because I do know that shoes have more crossover with cards than most other things, especially like soaps and stuff like that. But we're gonna get back to the cards here in a second. I'm just gonna add some more videos to the stream. So as I do that, I'll talk a little bit about more about my card show strategy. So it's hard. Like one thing I almost did was I almost broke my golden rule, which is not buying football during the football playoffs. I almost bought a couple Joe Burrow raw rookie cards during the show, and that would have been a horrible move because they were inflated, they were overpriced, and I was just tempted because like the thing that's hard though is like I was able at the show to see the condition, which I'm not normally able to see when I'm buying online. So as I saw the condition, I thought, man, like this could be a PSA 10, like very easily. But the problem was that the vendor had them priced already at like they had them priced as if it was for sure going to get a PSA 10. which you just can't do. Like you can't expect to really like what the vendor should have done is they should have had them graded. If you're gonna price something as if it's already gonna be a PSA 10, then really what you need to do is just have already had it graded. You know what I mean? But I almost broke my own rule, which is to not buy football essentially during football season, or especially like with the exception of there is typically like a pricing dip in December. So December is not a bad time to buy football. The best time to buy football is June. So I just said, you know what? I like these Joe Burrow rookie card. They were Prism base rookie cards, and they wanted $55 each, but they're $30 cards. They're only $55 because the Bengals were in the AFC Championship game that upcoming weekend. So I wasn't gonna bite. Actually, like the next day, the Bengals were in the AFC Championship game, so it just would have been a horrible time to buy. I'm really glad I did not buy them. So, all right, here we go. Here's some more cards, like things like a Larry Bird star card autograph, cool stuff. Pistol Pete Maravich, Mike Krzyzewski on card auto, things like that. Just stuff like this you see at shows that you don't really get to see. A lot of Michael Jordan's, classic NBA cards, which I'm kind of a sucker for to get my attention. And then right to the right of that, you got F1, a bunch of Lewis Hamilton. You got Zion patch autos, RJ Barrett patch autos. So they're trying to, vendors trying to play to the crowd. Here's a bunch of Cristiano Ronaldo. This Gavi manga. 2022 Prism is a sick card. They had it way overpriced, but I do love Gavi as an investment. And then you've got stuff like the Mia Hamm Obsidian Electric Etch Yellow Auto PSA 10. Like, what a banger card that is. That's really, really cool. Jude Bellingham Obsidian. There was a lot of soccer at the show. I will say, here's an insight for you, just kind of random insight, just to try to provide some value. Soccer at this show was way more soccer than I've seen at any show ever, which tells me that the growth of the soccer card market in America is real. Like 2 years ago at the Nashville card show, when I went there, nobody knew anything about soccer. This is Atlanta. This is not that far from Nashville. Most of the vendors were local to the area, or at least pretty close by geographically, and a lot of soccer, a ton of soccer. And like talking to the vendors, they actually knew more about soccer. You could tell that people had learned more about soccer and soccer cards in the last couple of years, because like you've got Jude Bellingham, Joao Felix, Pulisic, you've got Gavi. Like there's no way, like people 2 years ago at the Nashville card show had no idea who Pedri was. And now you've got people like sporting the Gavi cards, getting them graded. It's just a different. Here's more Gavi cards and Mbappe cards, Ronaldo classic cards, Pele, Messi. I mean, just tons and tons and tons of soccer everywhere at the show. So I think that's an insight for those of you who are trying to get into soccer more. I think there's going to be more and more opportunity for vendors at card shows to be interested in soccer, which is a big part of the market. Now here's who I'm after. That's Giannis. There's a bunch of Giannis autos there for those of you who are listening. Now these are the cards I would recommend if you're going to spend big money on sports cards, hoping to have it pay off within the next couple of years, say 12 to 18 months. Giannis is a guy, especially with the addition of Jay Crowder recently, that I do believe is going to win more NBA championships, and not just win more NBA championships, but remember when he put up 50 in the clinching game, Bucks and 6 a couple years ago? He's going to have more of those. I'll tell you right now. So going on and getting a big Giannis card is something that I aspire to. And I may just try to sell my entire collection right now just to be able to go and get one of these Giannis. They're way out of my price range right now. These Giannis right here for around $8,500 for a rookie auto. Here's another one in a lower grade. That one's not a rookie. Yeah, that's a second-year auto, but it's numbered out of 10. That's the sticker price of $32.50. I will say one thing that I really, really liked about Culture Collision is there were a couple vendors. The one I got the Manzardo from for example. No, the one I got. So I got Christian Santana, Curtis Mead, and Christian Encarnacion Strand. I bought a trifecta from a great vendor for a total of $110, and they were sent off to PSA to get graded. That vendor had real pricing on the front of all of his cards, and they were fair based on recent comps. And I bought more cards from that guy. Here's my plea to all: if you're a vendor at a card show, and you happen to be a member of the Premium Pod, listen to me. And if you're not a vendor at a card show and you're just a member of the Premium Pod, pass this on to vendors. But all vendors should realize that the more effort they take to accurately price things based on recent comps and put the pricing stickers on the front of the card in their showcase, the more they will sell. Trust me, because I bought more from this guy than I would have normally. And not only that, but he was a nice guy, and it was a great transaction. Last little insight here for the Premium Pod, I will say that at the Culture Collision card show, I noticed more than anything that alt was being used for comps. So I'm still going to eBay most of the time. I'm going to Market Movers most of the time, but alt was used by a lot of the vendors. I don't know why, but a lot of the vendors used alt for recent comps. Now, what's a little bit scary about that is it seemed to me like maybe what they were doing is just trying to find the highest, most recent comp on any platform and price their card that way and then stick to that comp. But most people aren't selling on alt. Most people are selling on eBay. So look at the eBay comps also, and then just come back to the vendor and be like, what can you do? Because this is what I'm seeing on eBay. Let me know if you see something different on eBay. I know you're seeing that on alt, but I'm not selling on alt. I'm selling on eBay. So what can you do? What can you do for me based on this eBay comp? I think are you willing to budge? What can you do for me? Will you throw this one in? How low can you go if I also get this card? Those are all phrases that I would highly encourage all of you to use at these shows, because I think you can always get a better deal. And just remember that everyone there is competing against one another. So you can walk away and then come back and still get the card most of the time. Worst case scenario is you walk away and you lose out on the card, but you still have the money in your pocket to do something else with it. And that happened to me a couple times at the show. For example, this one young man, I think in his teens, was with his father and his brother, and they had a great booth. But he was trying to sell a Tyrese Maxey auto, and he had it priced at the comp of the silver auto, when what he was selling was a base auto. And so he was wanting $400 for it, and really it was a $200 card. And so just know that you can work with the vendors there to educate them on why they not to be like a cheapskate or to pull one over on someone, because you're really not going to do that. I mean, these guys know what they're doing, but everyone's human and makes mistakes. And so just because somebody has a card priced a certain way or is demanding a certain price for a card or won't budge, doesn't mean that you can't come up with some reason to try to negotiate with them about it. And, just know that you can always find a better deal if you can't get the deal at that particular vendor. So don't feel pressured because you're standing there. Don't feel like you really, really need to help these guys out. They should be helping you out as well. You're the customer. So card shows are awesome. I want everybody to have a good experience at card shows and be friendly in the hobby. Know that, when I'm trying to help you guys make money flipping sports cards, I'm not trying to do anything other than help provide a good experience for you all and for everybody else, because the more transactions, the better. And hopefully some of these insights, I'm never really sure exactly how valuable these card show recap shows are. So let me know. Email me at paul@nooffseason.com. And let me know what you think of the premium pod. Let me know how I can improve it. Let me know if you think that the card show recaps are valuable. I do think I sort of come up with some things as I'm recording the show that are interesting in terms of what I find at shows that are trending, right? Like alt, that's something that was new to me. More soccer was new to me. Being able to see the condition of cards and pull things that are in good condition, but put things back, just because you're in a dollar box and you can get a card for $1 that's normally $4 because, it's maybe a buy three, get one free kind of a situation. If that last card isn't gonna get you a Jemmy, if it's off centered, left, right, or up, down, put it back. Just put it back. And anyway, everybody, thanks so much for watching and listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show Premium Pod Atlanta Culture Collision card show recap. Everybody, let me know what you think of the premium pod. I want to make it as valuable for you. There's going to be more of these. Next one coming up is going to be where I go through my spreadsheet over the last 3 years of investing in sports cards and break down where I have done things well, where I have done things poorly, what I have learned, and what I'm doing moving forward with my sports card strategy. Everybody, thanks so much. Have a great day.